Welcome to the Build Better Blueprint, the podcast where we discuss the foundations of real estate, entrepreneurship, and personal growth. Join Christian Cardamone as he shares insights, strategies, and stories that will empower you to level up your business, your lifestyle, and your impact. Let's build a better blueprint for success, starting now.
Hey, this is Christian Cardamone. Thanks for tuning in. This is the Build Better Blueprint. I'm real excited today, folks. I've got a real treat for you. I have Mr. Jason Hull. Jason's personal mission statement is to inspire others to love true principles, which means he's passionate about learning what he works in life and business and sharing what he learns with others. As a world-leading property management growth expert, Jason devotes much of his time to finding unique ways to help property management business owners help grow their companies. He believes that a good property management company can change the world by impacting thousands of families and lives. He is the founder and CEO of DoorGrow, a company whose mission is to transform property management businesses and their owners. Jason leads a contribution-based focused community, the DoorGrow Club, a Facebook group full of property management entrepreneurs that believe in his vision. He also shares his wealth of industry knowledge with others through his podcast, The DoorGrow Show, by helping thousands of property managers throughout North America to pinpoint powerful ways to take their business to the next level. So that's a mouthful, but ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Jason Hull, how are you, man?
I'm good, thanks. I appreciate you having me on, Christian. It's good to see you.
Yeah, man. Thank you. It's an honor. You're definitely one of my biggest guests, and I'm just grateful for your time. I'm actually a little background real quick. I was a client of yours for a couple of years. Ironically, I'm getting ready to have my second child. I think I signed up with you guys literally this same time frame 3 years ago before my daughter got here and went into like full business mode. Your company just did so much for me, man. So I just wanted to take this time to say thank you for all that.
Okay. I thought for a second there, it sounded like you were going to give me credit for your kids or something, but I had no hand in that.
No, you guys are good, but you're not that good. Anyways, man. So I want to kick things off and just get a little bit of a backstory on you. Obviously, you're the CEO and founder of DoorGrow, which is a big, basically probably the biggest in the world as far as property management, coaching, consulting. And tell us a little bit of how you got started in that space and what was the turning point that led DoorGrow to focus so heavily into management and get to where you did?
Yeah, I mean, initially I started out as just a guy trying to figure out how to make money so I could take care of my kids because I'd gone through a divorce and I was a single dad and I was trying to figure out how to make money. And I started a web design business because I'm like, all right, maybe I could build some websites for people. Initially, it was called Open Potion Website Design and Business Solutions. And then my brother bought into a property management franchise and had 0 doors, and he didn't like what he had been given by corporate. And then he was like, could you just help me with something? And so I built him a website, and then a lot of his fellow franchisees wanted what he had. And these were guys with thousands of doors. And they're like, we want what you gave your brother. His is cool. And and a lot of websites back then were focused on targeting pay rent online. And, it wasn't focused on getting business. And I was like, well, do you need more tenants? And he's like, no, that's not hard. I need owners. And I'm like, okay. And so it's cool. Then let's build it around this. I had a marketing degree and background. And so to me, it was just common sense. Let's build a site that has some of these elements. And then we started getting property management business owners all over the US eventually. And then they wanted to figure out how to grow. And then it eventually turned into coaching because we started helping them with growth stuff and figured out that they're not ready for growth. And like, it's a mess. And then now we still do some websites, but really we've really evolved into being the world leaders at coaching long-term residential third-party property management companies, which is pretty niche. So I'm a big deal to very few people on the planet and no one else has heard of me. So
that's kind of an awesome approach though, because then you still get to, you can go out and no one's going to bug you like at dinner or whatever. You kind of get like in your realm, you're like celebrity status. And then outside of that, you get the best of both worlds.
But yeah. One of my mentors right now that I've been working with, well, I've got a couple of mentors and they're very wealthy and there's some big names. And one of them told me fame is the most efficient business model. And so I'm doing the uncomfortable thing to build the personal brand now so that if we can kind of get to that next level. So I don't know, maybe more people will interrupt me at dinner in the future. So we'll see. But
well, I think, your personal mission to inspire others to love true principles. I think that's cool because you have so much clarity on that. And I think as a business owner and as you have to have that as a coach to help lead others, I think, because that's what most business owners struggle with is like clarity. So the fact that you have that, you've outlined it and you've distilled it down to this, can you elaborate on that and like how, I mean, I think that's powerful, man. So I think, how does that look in your eyes?
Yeah, man. I remember when I figured that out. Like, I watched this video from Simon Sinek, famous video. It's this really blurry, crappy TED Talk video that went super viral. And he talks about the golden circle. I think that's what you look up. It's like Simon Sinek, golden circle. And he talked about this framework of why, how, and what. And I was like, man, I need to figure out my why. Because at the time, I was building a bunch of websites for a bunch of people that like wanted to micromanage me. I wasn't happy. I had bad clients. I wasn't making very much money. I was just a stressed dad trying to figure things out. And I was like, and I wanted to just watch Netflix. Like, I just wanted to disconnect and unplug because I just wasn't passionate about what I was doing. And I was like, and like this concept of this why was like really kind of blew me away. And I was like, he's got a book, Start with Why. I read the book and like I started digging into all his videos and I was trying to figure out what is this? What is my why? And so I was like, I need to get clear on what my values are. Like, what do I care about? So I mapped out my values. I figured out what my why was. I figured out like, what's my version of a why statement? Because Simon's was to inspire others to do what inspires them. He wanted to help people find their whys.
Yeah.
And I was like, I like inspiring others, but I don't really know that my whole mission in life is to help everybody figure out what they want to do. I mean, that's cool. And I help a lot of clients do that now, actually. I help them figure out their why. But for me, it was like, I love learning. Like, I just love learning new stuff. And I love sharing what I learn with others. And when I'm learning, I want to find the principles. So like every business book on my bookshelf back here, like, usually they illustrate one principle. The Bible is so famously popular because it has so many principles that are illustrated throughout it. And that's truth. And so I'm like, I want to find true principles, these levers that are powerful, that lead to lots of data and facts that are applicable in lots of scenarios. And that's where wisdom comes from. And that's power. And that's power to impact people. It's power to benefit my life. It's power to improve my situation. It's power to improve other situation. And so I love just learning, figuring out what works and sharing it with other people. I would do that for free, for fun. That's my why. And once I got clear on that, I changed everything. I think within a month, I'd fired half my team. I stopped working with certain types of clients. I started charging differently. Like it's kind of like you are the center of that solar system that is your business. You're the sun right there. Mm-hmm. And so if you don't like things that are going on in your business, it's you. You created it, right? Everything stems from you. And so I was like, that clarity alone made me transform everything in my business and put me on a mission and a path where my business became a vehicle to help me get my why instead of just to get money so I could feed my family, right? Ironically, when I get people clear on their why, they make way more money than they make otherwise. So it has that side effect, and I make plenty of money now, right? And so I'm helping everybody else win. But if my goal were just money, not everybody would trust me. But when people understand my why, it's a lot easier for them to trust me. So I get business easier. Sales becomes easier. And so helping my clients figure out their why changes everything. And it helps them with sales. It helps them build their own golden bridge. And so my golden bridge formula, which is part of my sales philosophy, is sharing your personal why, explaining what that means is, which I just did. And then connecting it to your business why. So our business why at DoorGrow is to transform property management business owners and their businesses. And what that means is we win if you win. We want to help property managers get what they want. So now then we connect it to the property management company, or the business owner, their why, what they want, their goal or desire. And so that's what sales really is. That's the most authentic selling model I think that could exist, is me connecting my desires to my business, and my business helping my prospective clients or clients connect their desires and get what they want. That golden bridge is the business, and it connects my heart to their heart. Like, we both get what we want. It creates the win-win. And that's the most authentic, easiest way to sell. And so if I can get somebody clear on their why, and that they understand to ask enough questions to figure out why somebody might want property management or need their services in their business or whatever it might be, then they can point out how the business gives both of you what you're looking to get, and you can counter that default assumption in sales, which everybody knows what most salespeople want. They want your money, right? And so the default assumption in sales is you want my money. And if that's the only reason you're doing this, and that's your main motivator, then you're probably willing to be unethical in order to get it. And this is why salespeople have a bad rap. But if somebody can relate their why, here is my personal why. Even if they're an employee, this is like why I work for Jason, and Jason's why is this. And Jason's why, it connects to the business why. And that's why we do this at DoorGrow. And my sales team members have a pretty easy time creating trust and helping them understand, because sales and deals happen at the speed of trust. And so that's why I think figuring out why is really powerful. So I've kind of developed this framework to coach clients through this, to help them within a week or two figure out what their purpose is, which they may spend their whole life trying to figure out, you know?
Yeah, it's a deep concept, dude, and it's heavy. And it's funny because I quote you probably 3 or 4 times on my podcast where I've said business happens at the speed of trust,
Okay.
because that's something I
I don't
picked
know
up.
if I'm the first person to say that. I think there is a book called The Speed of Trust. I've never even read it, but to me it makes sense, because that's like the sooner someone trusts. I just had a call right before this podcast interview, and he's like, "I'm sold. I want to sign up." He trusted me, and trust solves every sales objection. Every sales objection, if they're like, "Well, what do you do for this? And how about this?" And they're asking you all these questions, features, and benefits, the only real thing they're saying is, "I don't trust you yet." It's the only real sales objection. Once trust happens, they don't care as much about features and benefits and what you're going to do, and because they understand the why.
I think I see that clearly because in my experience, when you have that established, then all of a sudden you're working together. You're collaborating with that person who has effectively sold you something, versus you've just gone to them to try and get a service or something. So it like changes the dichotomy of that relationship, where it's like, I'm trying to sell you something, but as soon as we establish rapport and trust, then we're actually in partnership together, and that's a different relationship than
Yes.
just a
Yeah, very different.
transactional deal.
Yeah, it's not adversarial. Like, I saw this funny video. It was a joke. It wasn't a real video. But this guy's like, "Sell me this cup of water." And the sales guy gets the cup of water, and he's got this cup of water, and he's like trying different stuff. He's like, "Well, this is magic water from whatever." And the guy's like, "Yeah, I'm not buying it." And so then he's like, "Okay." And he's like, "Look, are you giving up? You giving up? You can't sell me the water?" And then he's like, he pulls out this thing of saltines, and he starts eating all these saltine crackers.
Yeah.
And the guy's like, he's like, "Oh, can I have some of those?" He's like, "Wait, you're trying to trick me so you can?" And he's like, "No, the deal's over. You bested me. You won. Like, I couldn't sell you the water." He's like, "Okay, here, you want to try some?" And he grabs the bag of saltines, like, "Ha ha, sucker! I've got your saltines now too." And he's eating all these saltines and crunching it, and then he grabs the water guy that was supposed to sell him the water, and he starts like, he's like pretending like he's like, "Hey, can I have the water?" He's like, "I thought you said the deal was done." He's like, "It's like $20 if you want this water."
Yeah.
He's like, "I only have $1." I'm like, "What kind of sales trainer only has I only have $1. It's all I got, man." And he's like dying because his just mouth is full of crackers. And then he's like, $20. He's like, "Fine, $20. I give it to you." And then he's like, "See, everybody, I just used the such and such method and whatever." And then the guy attacks him. And it's like a total stunt and ridiculous. And they're fighting. And then the main sales trainer pulls out a gun on him and he's like, "See, I just used my method." And everybody claps. And it's like totally ridiculous and outlandish. But we're not trying to force people into that. It's like, let's find us like a way we could both win together.
I agree, man. And that's like, and everyone has a different style. And I think that's the difference, because I've been to a couple sales trainings out west that were like heavy duty chanting, like, well, we can close everybody at any time. And it's like, part of me like loves that stuff, honestly, but that's like, that's like sales. And I prefer like business in my mind. And I don't know if there's a difference there, but I prefer like, um, relationship based transactions where everybody wins. And is like cheesy as that sounds, that's the thing where you have like repeat business. You can build something long term that people come back to the well, and it's just like a business worth owning, instead of just everyone's a ticket and you're just taking orders and just trying to take as many as you can as fast as you can. That's just me. It's, and to each their own, because we need people who go out and can close anybody, anytime, anywhere. But that's what gives salespeople a bad rap, I think.
Well, I think we're seeing a dramatic shift, because I mean, I was not a natural salesperson. I cut my teeth on learning all the sales stuff I could. And I learned NLP techniques and language tactics. I got pretty good at closing people. I learned different closes, just different tactics of basically manipulation. And they were effective for a while, but over the last maybe 3 to 5 years, I think, especially since the pandemic, there's been a dramatic shift in the marketplace. I think all these hardcore closers, pushy closers, they're dinosaurs and they're on their way out. They maybe don't know it, but they're getting exposed and they're getting a bad rap, and it's going to hurt their ability to make money in the future. And I've been part of some of those kind of things, or work with some of those type of people, or been around them as well. But the challenge, we're in what I would call the post-trust era now. This is an era where nobody believes anything. We're all waking up and realizing, holy cow, our voting has been fake to some degree. There's these Dominion voting machines that are manipulating results. The news has been fake. It's been highly propagandized and manipulated by government agencies and controlled, and by 5 media outlets that control everything. And then, it's like food is fake. And so now we've got this whole MAHA, Make America Healthy Again movement that's just trying to not poison us.
Yeah.
And so everything is fake and nobody knows who to actually trust. And so trust is at an all-time low historically. And I've noticed, even though our program was awesome, and I can't just sell the program anymore, it wasn't effective. So sales were just going down for DoorGrow. And so I was like, what is going on? And so I've had to learn this whole new model of selling that is based on asking questions, that's based on empathy, that's based on building trust. And it's much more aligned with my natural sort of philosophy anyway. And it's been really effective. It's way more effective.
Because at that point, it's not a pitch. It's a discussion, and then you have the solution.
Honestly, I just did a 1-hour call. I spent all about up to the 20 minutes left mark. So the majority of it just asking questions to get clarity. And the questions that I'm asking, and I got a lot of this from Jeremy Miner. Really, he's has a book called The New Model Selling. It's a really good book.
Like him.
And but it's basically, I started to realize people don't even know what their problems are until you ask them, and you ask them, how is it affecting them? So they're not aware of the problem. They're not aware of the solution they're looking for until you ask them. They're not aware of the consequences if they don't change things. So they don't have any real drive or motivation to make changes now. So then they're like, well, maybe I'll think about it, mull it over for the next 2 months. Right. And so if you ask the right questions and you guide them through this process, you're basically just helping them get clarity, which is really powerful. So really, it's just coaching. And this is how I would operate as a coach. So I'm like, cool, now I can sell by just coaching them and helping them get clarity. And so that's what I did on the call right before this. I'm like, what's your current situation? He's like, I'm at 15, 16 doors. And I've been doing this for months and it's not going very fast, Cool. What do you think? What have you tried so far? So what's your current situation? Well, I've been trying APM leads. I've been trying this. Okay. How's that working for you? It's okay, but it's not great. And I only got 1 lead from this geek company. And so far I've spent a bunch of money, and he's like, it's not going very well. I'm like, okay, what are you looking for then? What do you think you need? He's like, I think I need clarity because I'm just experimenting and trying to figure stuff out. So he's figuring all this out. I'm just asking
the
questions.
answers. Yeah, you just got to draw them out.
And so I'm like, well, if you continue, because a big challenge I had is a lot of people are like, I love your program, it's amazing, but they had no urgency. And so I eventually figured out it's because I haven't asked any urgency related questions. So I'm like, so these are questions like, well, why does it matter to do this now? Does it even matter? Maybe you don't need to change anything. No, this matters. I need to do this. Like if I don't figure something, like, okay, well, if you don't figure out what's the consequence? So consequence questions. What's the consequence if you just keep doing this the same way? Is it a big deal? No, it's a big deal. Why is it a big deal? Well, because of this, and my spouse is getting upset at me, or, whatever they might say, right? Sometimes when I've asked people why now, and that's always been a question I've loved in sales, I've gotten crazy answers. I'm like, you've heard about me and watched my podcast for a year, you said, and you're a fan. And like, why haven't you signed up? Like, why now are you reaching out for help? Oh, well, my wife has cancer, or I have cancer, or I had one gal that's in our program now say my fiance passed away a month ago.
Oh, geez.
Yeah. And I need to be focused on something, and I need to get this business has been a problem. And so, when we ask powerful questions, instead of being superficial and thinking it's all about how cool we are and trying to cram a product down their throat, we get to really get deep with people and we get to help people. And it's a whole different level of conversation. And the magic ingredient I've learned from some other trainings and other things I've been through. What book is it? There's a really good book by, I think his name is David Wolf, but it's something about the relationships. But what is empathetic reflection? Empathetic reflection is the magic ingredient you could add to anything to make any conversation more powerful and effective. And adding that in sales is magic. And so all I do is I just watch how they're feeling about something. I just watch or listen to what they're saying. And I say, it sounds like you're feeling a little bit stressed about this. Oh yeah, I'm really stressed. And what empathetic reflection does is it allows people clarity on how they're feeling, because they don't even know how they're feeling about something. So if they want to solve their problem, they have a problem. They don't even know what the problem is until you ask them. And then you say, well, how is this affecting you? And they're like, oh man, my wife's frustrated and like this is happening and we got bills piling up. So it sounds like this is a little bit frustrating for you. Then they're like, no, it's really frustrating, And so I'm reflecting back the emotion. And that's where people get really real and raw with me. And then they feel heard. And it's the old adage, nobody cares what you know until they know that you care, is very true in sales.
Yeah.
And they know that I care because I'm paying attention to their feelings and I'm reflecting their feelings back. And I've had people do this to me. I went to this training, we were learning about empathetic reflection, and this guy is like, it sounds like you really care about your family. And I broke down crying. And I just, I guess I just wasn't super conscious about all the feelings I was having at that moment, about all the stuff that I was dealing with my family in that moment. But they just reflected back. It sounds like you really care about your family. It's a really big deal to you right now. And I was like, it's just like floodgates open. I'm like, and I realized, yeah, I really do care about my family. This is a big deal for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's powerful, man. That kind of leads me to my next question, because I think the power of coaching and mentorship is just tremendous because of exactly that. You can have a conversation, whether it's someone you're trying to sell someone to, or if you're talking to your coach or a mentor, they're hearing what you're saying and they're trained and they know well enough how to pull things out of you, and then they can connect the dots and then tell you what they see. And that's where I think a lot of value comes from having a coach and mentor, because they can see the things that you can't, that are so obvious. If I was to sit here and listen to someone talk for 10 minutes, it's like, obviously this guy cares about his family. Obviously he's stressed out because he's not making the money. So I can connect the dots as the mentor, and then I can deliver this product to you that is going to help in that. And so I guess my question is like, how important is mentorship? 'Cause I have a feeling it's very important in you, in the way that you live your life and run your business. But like, who are you looking at for inspiration, and who are some of your coaches that you like right now?
Yeah. Man, I care a lot about mentorship. It's a big deal to me. I never not have mentors. I think for me, I used to not, right? Like in the beginning, I'm trying to do everything myself. And I thought I was so smart. I could figure it all out myself. And I watch enough YouTube videos and read enough books. I could figure anything out. I'm the man, right?
Totally. Yeah.
And then business has a really great way of showing you your weaknesses. And I'm like, man, this is hard. Like I'm struggling and like this is so stressful. And my wife's getting frustrated and I need to get money in and like bills aren't getting paid. And I'm like, this is really a lot of work. And why don't you just go get a job? I'm hearing people say, and I'm like, I'm like, I think I remember one of my first mentors, and I remember I went to my wife at the time. I'm now divorced from her, but I went to her and I had made some mistakes, like trying stuff, figuring stuff out. I'd had other mentors and coaches, but my first real person that I like looked up to, that I wanted to be like, that gave me some value, I signed up with him. I think it was like $3,000 a month. I mean, this wasn't cheap coaching. And I went to my wife and I said, hey, I just signed up with this coach. And shout out to Alex Sharfin. That was who. And he was more of an operations coach. And so I just signed up with Alex. And she said, what did it cost? I said, 3,000. She's like, I could just see her face, kind of like a ghost, like she's seen a ghost. And then I said, and that's monthly. That's a month. And then she started crying. She started crying. And I'm like,
What have I done?
Right. She was like, because we'd gone through some hard things and I'd made some mistakes trying to like sign up with coaches that were like great marketers, but probably not great morals, or maybe at the time, or maybe I think they've evolved, but they were great salespeople, maybe not great on delivery. I don't know. But it all panned out because like I dramatically increased my business as a result, like dramatically. But that was the first coach that like believed in me. Like he believed in me. I went to a group, met up with a group in Austin and at his office, and there was a bunch of multi-million-dollar business owners there. I felt like I was an ant around giants. I was like, I don't belong here. I don't deserve to even be in this room. I don't even know why I'm here. Some of these guys have multi-million-dollar medical practices and with lots of offices and like stuff like this. And they go around and everyone's sharing their business and what they do. And he's making comments on it. And then he gets to me and he like asks me what I do. And I'm like, well, I help property managers and I help do this and this sort of thing. And he's like, oh yeah, that'll never work. And I was like, yeah. And I said, no, I'm not. And he's like, you don't want to start that business. And I'm like, no, I'm doing this.
I'm already in it.
I'm actually doing this. And he's like, oh, tell me more. And I'm like doing this and this and this and explain it. And then he looks at me and he's like, he's got this kind of raspy voice. He's like, Jason, you have a $20 million company and you don't even know it. And I broke down crying in front of the room in that moment because it had been so hard. My wife didn't believe in me. Like I felt like it had been such a struggle. I only barely believed in myself, barely. And I thought I was just really struggling. And he believed in me and that changed everything. And I think one of the best things you can get from a mentor is hope. That drug of hopium is like magic. Like if you work with clients and you have clients you coach or anything and they're not getting results, it's because they don't believe in themselves enough. 9 times out of 10, they just need hope. One of my mentors recently is a guy named Aaron Stokes, who I'm working with actively right now. And he runs a company called Shop Fix Academy. It's like DoorGrow, but for auto repair shops. And he's way ahead of me in the coaching game. Like he has thousands of clients, and just really massive conference and like big deal. A really, really stand up, really cool guy, very Christian, really just a good man. He's the kind of person you look up to and you're like, man, I could be more like Aaron, And, but Aaron, he said, yeah, it's you give them tactics plus hope and then they get results. And I was like, oh, and then I remembered Alex. I'm like, yeah, that changed everything for me.
Yeah.
So since working with Aaron, I'm like very intentional. I got to make sure I'm giving hope. I tell my clients, I'm like, hey, I want you to know I believe in you and I think you're doing awesome. And you know how many people hear that? How many men do you think hear that from anyone?
Dude, I mean, case in point, your reaction to when Alex called you out and said that to you, that's a pretty powerful example of that. Cause no, you never hear that. If your dad says that to you, you're like, I'm fortunate, I have a great relationship with my dad, but most people never hear that even from their parents,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, my mom, but she's biased. So like, do I believe it as much? I don't know. Because I've got the whole world of reality fleshing results in my face that are my results. And I'm like, I'm not doing so amazing, in that moment. But he's like, and Alex just thought I was brilliant. And he could see that. And I was like, I always thought maybe I was okay and maybe a little bit brilliant, but he saw it in me. And, and he was the type of person that I wanted to be more like. He had some positive attributes that I really valued. And so, so I think having a mentor is so powerful. Now, I think coaches or mentors can do 2 major things for you. One, they can dramatically help you collapse time, just avoiding a ton of mistakes and a ton of experimentation and a ton of wasting time. Every coach that I've had has helped me collapse time, at least has done that. And so and time is money. Like I've made more money. I've made money off of every coach. And I think you have to be a good coaching client. You are either negative active or you're positive active. Positive active people get results in any program they've ever joined ever. I will find something, I will learn something from this that I can take away or benefit from. Negative active are like, I don't know if this is going to work. I'm skeptical. We'll see. Prove it to me. And they always prove themselves right. I knew this would suck. I knew this wasn't good.
Self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah. And so now we're very conscious at DoorGrow. We're very careful about not taking on negative active clients because you can't win with them. Their belief system is that the world is negative and they're Eeyores and it sucks. And
How do you identify that? Because yeah, I mean, they can hurt your business, because then if you have too many of those and then no one's succeeding, but it's not because of you or your material. It's because these type of people won't succeed
well, I
in
mean,
any
it's pretty
environment.
obvious once you're working with them. So sometimes they slip through, but usually it's pretty obvious during the sales process because they're skeptical about everything. They're like, well, what do you do in this situation? How do you do this? And what am I going to get for this amount of money? And, this sort of thing. Whereas really great clients that are positive active, they're like, hey, you know what? It's worth a shot. I'll figure it out with you and like, let's go. So they're just, there's this kind of joke that you'll see these memes float around by coaches and it's like, or consultants that'll say, really healthy, mindset, wealthy mindset type of client, what does it cost? It's 10K. And they're like, cool, I'll wire you the money right now. And like the skeptical person that will never get results, what does it get for 10K? And can I do it in payments? And like, and what do I get to talk to you all the time? And what are you going to do for this? And right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been that guy, trust me. So that hits home, because when I first started paying attention to this and realizing it's intimidating when you hire your first coach and it's
Yeah.
probably the biggest check you've written other than your mortgage,
Yeah.
and there's nothing tangible for it. So you want to get some sort of return, but it's like an investment, but in
I've
yourself.
been that guy too. So like, but a good salesperson or a good coach would say, I had one coach I work with. If you ask him any questions, he's like, what's in your program? Or what do you include? He's like, I don't even know what you need yet, but I know that I don't have the problems you have. And I've figured this stuff out. And I was like, okay,
That
yeah,
sounds like a Brad Lee-ism.
that was Kevin Nations. He's like
Okay,
the OG of like high ticket sales.
gotcha.
And yeah, he was like, but I know, like, based on your own admission, you've got these problems and my clients don't have these problems. And I was like, that's true.
Yeah. Yeah, man. The proof's in the pudding. Speaking of that, I want to go down my list of questions, but I want to take a quick pivot. How was your experience with Brad? I heard you on his podcast. You did awesome. I'm a big fan of him. I met him a couple times.
I mean,
Very cool guy.
Brad's what you see is what you get. I feel like he's a simple guy. He's down to earth. And yeah, I enjoyed interacting with him. And I think he's a really great role model for men because he showcases what I believe is a masculine frame. And I think we've lost a lot of that.
Mhm.
He's like a modern John Wayne. Like he's got that masculine walled frame, and that I think allows women to feel safe and creates is it like just puts off that air of leadership. And he's not trying to please everybody, which puts men in a feminine frame. Right. So yeah, there's a great book on the subject called The Wall Speaks by Jer. He's this philosopher, Jerr, and talks about that. And an even better book for most men starting out is Jer's book called Shattering the Feminine Frame. It's kind of just breaks down that sort of feminine frame that we've been had pushed on us, that we're blind to by feminism, by our mom, by women we've been in relationship with, that well-meaning, but they guide us towards like kind of bad or false philosophy or idea around the feminine. And so, which puts us into the feminine, like share all your feelings, which destroys women's ability to leverage and use their intuition. So having this walled masculine frame actually makes women feel safer with you, but it is frustrating to them. Yeah. And women want safety because they're raised from the beginning feeling less safe than us in the world. They have cycles changing their whole internal operation and emotions all month long. Like men, we live in this universe of simplicity and stability that they just don't experience. And yeah, and so that's something I've really been focused on as well. And so I really recognize that in Brad. So I really wanted to meet him, and I thought it'd be really cool to be able to go and do that. And I brought Sarah, I brought my wife, and not the wife I've been talking about earlier on the podcast, but my current wife. Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome, dude.
My awesome wife. And so I brought Sarah, and it was great to meet him, and yeah, it was a good time. Yeah.
That's awesome,
I
man.
like the
Super
guy.
cool. So what are you building, focused on right now in the next 3 to 5 years? Is it try and build DoorGrow and bring on more clients there and help that? Is that what you're really leaning into?
I've got two goals. I really believe DoorGrow, like Alex Sharpton said, could be a really big company. We're not that big yet. I really believe the one thing holding us back is that we lack awareness in the industry. Not a lot of people have heard of DoorGrow.
Mhm.
ChatGPT says 6,000 new companies are started every year in property management. And I'm not capturing even 10% of that, or a fraction of that, so
Yeah, but you're still that's so ironic though, because you're still one of the biggest in the space though, if you're looking for it.
yeah, I think there's a lot of opportunity for growth. So I think there's a lot of opportunity there for impact. So I do have goals to grow this. I really feel like a lot of the franchises in the space are hurting the industry. I get a lot of franchisees coming to me. I had a lady just come to me like a week ago, like she's already invested 100K into this business startup with a franchise in the industry, and she has one door.
Crazy.
She spent 25 grand in the last 6-7 months on digital marketing because that's what they told her to do. And they get kickbacks from these marketers, the corporate does. And I'm like, I feel like there's people hurting my people. That's what it feels like. And so I have an active mission for DoorGrow over the next year. I really want to be the franchise alternative. I want everyone thinking of joining a franchise because they think that's going to be a better path to come to us, and we will help them come up with their own brand and their own website and their own sales pitch and their own pricing. And it will be better than anything they would have been given, and we'll give them way better strategies for growth. So there's that. Also, another thing I want to do with DoorGrow is everybody, when they get started, wants a website. Nobody wants coaching. Like nobody's out there going, I need a coach. That's really rare. Sometimes I get people from real estate. They're like, I've been working with Tom Ferry and coaching his program, and now I want to join your thing. And because I need something for property management, but that's rare. That's really rare. And they give us good. I hear Tom Ferry's program is really good, and they tell us your program is like really awesome, even compared to that. And I'm like, cool, we're doing something right. So I feel like we have a really good product, but not a lot of awareness. But everybody wants a website when they're getting started. And that's how we got our start. And so one of the things we're looking at doing is we're going to be focusing more on websites. And I've got a little clever thing up my sleeve for that we're going to be doing. So on the personal side, one of my mentors right now is that I really look up to, that I've really enjoyed interacting with, is a guy named Sharon Srivatsa. And he's just stepped down as the CEO of Real, which is one of the fastest growing real estate companies.
Huge.
Brilliant guy. He coaches Alex Hermosi. He coaches he's a brilliant, really sharp tactical guy. And him and my mentor, Aaron, are friends. And so we get together with them. And so Sharon's the one that said fame is the most efficient business model. And so he's working on building his personal brand up right now. And that's something that I'm going to be shifting, and Sarah's going to be shifting our focus to, is building up our personal brands. Because I've tried just building my personal brand up for property management, but that's such a small niche. And I'm realizing that doesn't make sense. I need to build up my personal brand to help everybody, and entrepreneurism and something much broader. And DoorGrow can be focused on the property management space, building up that brand there, and both will help each other. Right.
Yeah. And well, I think you have, your kind of why is universal though, because you can apply it into your door grow business and just jam it. But you can also,
Yeah.
I think you have as someone who's been a client of you, you have the ability to help a lot of people in a lot of different industries and a lot of different spaces.
Absolutely.
So I think that's, I think you'd be wise to lean into that. What's your strategy to build the personal brand? Because I wanted to ask about, the show is kind of designed to help someone look at like a blueprint of how to build a successful business, and what you've done with DoorGrow has been tremendous. But I'm curious now, maybe what are you going to do to build the personal brand?
If I really were good at that and knew it, I probably would already have it by now. So I don't know that I'm qualified to be the person talking about how to build a personal brand. My current thinking, based on the things that I've learned, is that I need to position myself to be known for something. And I need to leverage, one strategy is to leverage people like Bradley or others that are ahead of me in the game, and leverage their audiences and those connections. And so the podcast, I'm going to work with a company I'm going to. I've already paid them. So I'm working with a company to get a book written.
Awesome.
And then get on podcasts and things to talk about that. And so there's some things in the works to build up the personal brand. And I think there's some, but my blueprint really with anything is find the people that are the best at this, and find the best books related to this, and find the best coaches related to this, and learn and figure out how to do it. So I'm paying attention to people like Jen Gottlieb and, others that like focus on building up personal brands and talk about building personal brands. So I'm just, maybe I'll be paying some of these people as mentors to help me collapse time or figure some stuff out. I don't know. So I'm paying a company that works with like Russell Brunson and others to get books out. And so we'll see if that works. I don't know. I just try stuff. So
Yeah. Well, that's part of the fun, dude, right? That's like you're the boss. You get to choose the path. But I mean, it is simple in one sense though. Like you just find who's doing what you want to do, you study what they did, and then you just go do the work. You don't have to go and like discover some new
reinvent
thing.
the wheel. Yeah.
It's all out there. And you're already like in the mindset of, I think mindset's one of the hardest things to get. You already have that as a feather in your cap. So you have like a tailwind in this endeavors. I'm stoked to see what you do next, man, for sure.
It'll be interesting.
So awesome. Well, listen, I've got just one last question for you. We're just about out of time, and I want to thank you again just for being on here. It's been awesome to chat with you.
Yeah, it's been great.
If you were to go back in time right now and give yourself a little bit of advice, what would that be?
Buy Bitcoin. No, I'm just kidding. All right. So if I were to go back in time and give myself some advice, man, I don't know. I mean, that's a hard answer to answer because all of the stuff that I've gone through, all the pain that I've gone through. I mean, I've got 2 failed marriages under my belt. I've had lots of struggles in business. Like I've been on a constant path of learning by making lots of mistakes. I've made thousands of mistakes. DoorGrow was built on thousands of mistakes. So I definitely have some humility connected to all of that. Like I'm not under any, but I also believe in myself. And I think that's one of the things that I think, especially men, I think men a lot of times are trying to get belief from women. They're trying to get belief from other people. They're trying to impress other people. I think if I were to give myself advice, I would say, hey, Jason, you need to believe in yourself more than anyone else believes in you. And then everyone else will believe in you too.
That's awesome, dude. That's the truth. That's, winners lose more than losers. You've got to just keep going and just getting that,
you have to have an irrational belief in yourself, even when chips are down and nothing makes sense, because no one else is coming to save you. Mm-hmm. And if you're trying to put your belief on someone else's shoulders, like a spouse, like you're like, I need you to believe in me, and she just doesn't believe in me and support me. She can't believe in you and support you if you don't believe in yourself. With men, belief, we're the leaders. Belief starts with us. We have to have an irrational belief that we are going to figure it out, that we can do it, that we are awesome. And if you can just believe in yourself, you will make it true. You'll make it true. Like you are designed by the creator, like you're in his image, like you have to believe in yourself. And so that's something that I've really been focused on just in the last year. It's like really just starting to believe, really focusing on, it's not about anyone else believing in you. It's about you believing in yourself. And if you believe in yourself, everyone else believes in you too. And one thing this is a crazy thing that illustrates this, but there's these shows on Netflix, right? Like there's this show, The Tinder Swindler, and this Anna, whatever her name is, like these con artists.
Yeah.
There's all these shows of different con artists. And there's been so many, but these con artists displayed so much certainty and so much confidence that everyone around them just bought into their BS. Yeah. And if it can be used for evil, it can definitely be used for good. Right? Did Jesus have self-belief and confidence? Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Like he's like, hey guys, I'm the Son of God. Like I'm like, if you've seen the Father, you basically seen me. Like we're like, that's how connected we are. Like that's some confidence, right? And but he said, if those that believe in me will do greater things than you've seen me do. Who believes that? How many Christians are walking around going, I think I'll do greater things than Jesus? Like he taught self-belief. He taught having belief. And, and I think we need to believe, we need to have that belief in ourselves has to be so strong. And if we believe in ourselves, everyone else around us will believe in us too. And I love Alex Hormozy, who I've been around him. He's been in some programs. I paid him as a coach. One of the things that he says is you don't get belief in yourself by throwing out a bunch of fake affirmations and bravado. Belief comes from doing the hard work and creating an undeniable amount of proof and evidence. You have to create evidence and proof. This is why if we just work hard enough and we don't give up and we do this, we create that belief in ourselves. By doing hard things, we create self-belief. So all the hard stuff, anyone listening to this that you've gone through, I've gone through some hard stuff. All the hard stuff that you've gone through, that didn't break you, that made you, that gave you some belief. You're smarter from that. You've learned from that.
Yeah, I'm with you. If you don't look at it through that lens, then you wasted that experience. And then it is a hardship. And that's what separates the folks that really rise in life and become successful, is recognizing that, taking something from it, and it's a scar. And now, onward.
So my previous marriage, she cheated on me. She was an alcoholic. And a lot of people in the industry didn't know this. And I got a lot of shit from property managers and people in the industry when I was going through this. Like, look, he's bad with women, or he's bad to women, or whatever. And I didn't say anything, right? I went through a lot of tough stuff. And as part of that, then that created a lot of insecurity in me, because I felt like I was blindsided. But I've learned I'm no longer the person that like could be blindsided and be cheated on. I can now see the red flags in hindsight. I have learned from that. I'm no longer that guy that gets into that bad scenario and bad situation. I'm not vulnerable to that anymore. Is there some scar tissue? And I'm like, was that traumatic for me? Yeah. Like one of the most traumatic things I ever went through. But I'm a different person on the other side of that. I can't tell you how many relationship books I've read, how many things I've studied. I had to go through the process of dating after 20 years of only being in marriage. That was like terrifying. But then I was like, okay, this is kind of fun. It's kind of like marketing and sales. But, I had to, as a result, or because of that friction in my life, that pain in my life, a massive amount of learning came from that. And I really believe like that's how God's designed the whole universe. Like it says in the scriptures, like for whom God loves, he chastens. Like despise not the chastening of the Lord. Like if you have tough stuff coming at you, you can either be a victim of it, or you can say, that's why I am better. That's why I've become who I am.
And that's a decision, though. You have to be able to make that.
Learn. That's the only thing, is the only difference between it being the shit, or sorry, I don't know if I can say that on your show, but between the garbage, that you're or being the bricks on which you build your life, and learning is just whether you figure out, why was this positive? What can I take away from this? What can I learn? Because if you don't learn from it, then it's just trauma.
Yeah. Exactly. Well said, man. I don't even think I can follow that up, because I agree with you. It's a great point, but it is all in your perspective and the frame that you put things into after they happen, because it either can become a bag you got to carry for the rest of your life and an excuse, or it can become the reason that you propel even higher and grow to bigger things. So that's great insight, man. Listen, we're about out of time, but I want to find out where folks can follow you. We can help support you, support DoorGrow and your new personal brand. And we want to pay attention to what you're up to in the future.
Cool. Anybody that wants to follow me, I made it really simple. It's just King Jason Hull, Hull. King Jason Hull is my handle on every social media platform. You name it. X, Facebook, Instagram, even Snapchat, like wherever social media is, that's my handle. Telegram. So feel free to hit me up on any of those channels and follow my stuff. And yeah, that'd be great.
Awesome. Well, folks, you heard it here first. This is Christian Cardamone with Mr. Jason Hull. It's been the Build Better Blueprint, and thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time.
That's it, folks. That's our show. Thanks as always for listening. If you enjoyed today's discussion, please leave us a 5-star rating and subscribe to our channel so you are up to date with the latest episodes. Feel free to share with your friends and keep up the great work. You are on the right path. See you at the top.